ADHD's impact on the area of social well-being is often more difficult to identify than the more obvious domains like school or work. Symptoms of ADHD can get miscategorized as personal characteristics, so the individual and those around them mistake executive functioning issues with personality flaws. For example, impulsivity can give the impression of harshness, or inattention can get in the way of making social connections or contributing well as a team member. Difficulties with time management can lead to lateness, which can come across as unprofessionalism or disrespect. This is not to say that these symptoms should be accepted or appropriate, but by connecting them with your brain, you can better understand how to make changes. Driving is a great example of the prefrontal cortex at work. While you're keeping your eyes on what lies ahead, you're constantly assessing cars around you, making decisions in the moment, and managing multiple conflicting pieces of information at the same time. Now add symptoms like inattention, hyperfocusing, impulsivity, and general time management concerns into the mix, and driving and parking can become a significant problem for people with ADHD. Interestingly, though, some people find that they're able to engage while driving because it can be so stimulating and they don't report the same challenges. Some of the common struggles people face when they have ADHD as it relates to driving are speeding or parking tickets, as well as road rage due to emotional dysregulation while driving. It's important to come to terms with whether or not your ADHD symptoms are interfering with your driving so you can avoid dangerous situations. Connected physical intimacy requires you to be in the moment and willing to openly share yourself. Undiagnosed or untreated ADHD can be a barrier to intimate relationships in a number of ways. Logistically, difficulties with time management can hinder you from making time and space to share with your partner. Mentally, symptoms of distractibility and restlessness can contribute to feelings of distance. Symptoms of impulsivity can also be a risk factor for making unsafe sexual decisions. Finally, secondary symptoms such as anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, and high conflict in relationships can directly or indirectly impact this area. Intimacy is often one of the later steps in the healing process, once other relationship challenges have been sorted out. That being said, being intimate doesn't have to be an all or nothing decision either. Remember, holding hands, starting slow, these small steps towards healing, both emotional and physical, can be a powerful. Once you identify your individual symptoms of ADHD, you can quickly see how they affect your relationships. Especially if you aren't diagnosed until adulthood, the process can feel really overwhelming to work through. Suddenly, there's this opportunity to see how your ADHD has impacted both past and present relationships, and this can be a tough pill to swallow. ADHD symptoms can impact relationships in a lot of important ways. Maybe it's something logistical, like texting back a friend or partner, or maybe things like impulsivity cause a lot of conflict in your relationships. I know for me, the black and white thinking associated with ADHD makes me very quick to cut people out of my life. And this is something I'm working really hard on, learning how to repair these relationships. But it's not hopeless. Reaching out to friends and family with a clear awareness of yourself often brings people closer quite quickly. Nowadays, our households are busier than ever. We all need executive functions to manage everything from getting out the door on time to keeping our homes organized. Routines are important because they can give you a feeling of control in your home life. But individuals with ADHD often feel like they don't want routines and push back things that seem too monotonous. Perhaps it comes from a fear of not being able to stick to the commitments or concern that too much structure will be boring. The latter is definitely me. But I actually find I do my best when I have a very highly structured day. During exam time, I have my days scheduled down to the minute, and that's actually when I feel the most calm. Keep in mind that structure often reduces stress and helps you stay on top of habits that will make you feel more in control. ADHD can impact sustainable money management. Sometimes impulsive spending is the problem. In other cases, individuals describe a lack of ability to organize or focus long enough to stay on track with any long-term financial planning, so they end up not being connected or consistent with the budget. Couples with ADHD may find this to be an area of high conflict. It's difficult for many people to stay on top of financial planning. ADHD symptoms can make it all the more challenging. It can be helpful to work with a professional like an administrative assistant, financial planner, or accountant to help yourself get on track. I found setting up automated bill payments to be the most helpful for me. It helps you avoid late payments and also the negative consequences like poor credit that can cause. I also really like the book Living Debt Free by Shannon Lee Simmons.